Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good at all the things. My name is CJ, and I'm going to start this video series basically just describing my thought process and how everything is going to be looking for an app I'm creating. So the app that's being developed by me right now is it's a coding challenge where I need to create a relatively basic stock portfolio stock investment app, and I'm going to be using React.js for the framework. And if I have time, I'm going to try and see if I can translate it to Ruby on Rails. Um, but I just wanted to show you guys what the initial setup is and what my plan is. So you see all these files and folders in here. This is all for the React and create React app command, and then I added the pages that I'm going to plan to be using. So first off, we want to make this an app that users sign into or create an account, and then that way they can access their own personal portfolios as opposed to messing with everybody else's. So I've created the login page, and then their respective portfolio page here. So you see that, that's really relatively basic right now. Obviously, there will be more added as I go. Um, this is the sign up page. So if they want to create an account, this will be the page that they go to, and then the actual page where the user will see all the different available stocks that they can purchase and add to their portfolio. So I'm going to store the users purchase stocks in a MongoDB database, and I haven't added the model just yet, but I will be doing that soon. I'm actually going to work on the stock where is it? Come here. The stock list page first, because I want to be able to grab the stocks, and I'm going to be utilizing an API to pull that data. I'm going to look for a free one we're not going to store any of that information in the database. We're just going to make the API request when the page loads, and it'll show everything up in a table, and along with some interactable stuff to allow the user to make those necessary purchases. And it's those purchases that will be stored in that database, and it will be attached to the user's profile, and only that user's profile. It should not be like a general list. For authentication purposes, I'm planning on using Passport here. I'm very familiar with Passport, and it's actually a pretty good authentication tool for JavaScript based apps that I've used. Relatively straightforward, and that'll help it keep everything in line. And I'm going to be using Redux to kind of store all that information, the current user session, so that it's accessible for all the different pages that we're using, unless they sign out. And if they sign out, they just go back to the login page, and they'll have to sign back in again. And if I have time, I'm going to try to implement a timeout feature. So if they're inactive for, like, say, 15 minutes, then it'll automatically sign the user out, and they'll have to log back in. There's personal finances involved. I may even shorten it to about 10 minutes. We don't want to just leave that information lying around for somebody to mess with. So the initial thoughts is it's like, okay, well, in order to purchase stocks, you have to have the money to purchase stock. So I'm going to set a basic value of how much money the user has. They put that into the sign up page, and then that's how much they start with, and then they can use that money to make the purchases, and the actual wallet will reflect how much they have left, and then based on what they have in the stocks, if it goes up or it goes down, and they make a sale, then they can add that money back to the wallet based on the sell price of that stock, and then they can use that money to purchase more, and so on and so forth. So it's a nice, easy back and forth. So as I said before, the first thing I'm going to work on is getting the actual stocks to show up onto the page for what the user wants to buy. And then we will go from there. So I will provide an update video once I get that complete, and I will show you how that looks. But just to get a rough outline, here's the actual like what landing page. So you see this would be the login page. This is where the user is going to end up, and they're either sign in or they would create an account on this page. And then I don't have links to the other pages or buttons to link to the other pages just yet. But if we go to say portfolio, to go to their portfolio page, this is the portfolio page. And then if they go to the sign up page, obviously, oh, nope, that wasn't the correct one, because this is actually going to be our 404 error. So if they go to somewhere that they're not supposed to go to, this is where they're going to end up. So let me actually refer to my app.js, which is kind of where everything is being routed. We're using React Router DOM to route our pages. Oh, I did portfolio sign up. That's what I did. Okay, so if we just do sign up, there's a sign up page, and then so on and so forth. And then I think stock list is where. So these are the pages that they're going to be accessing, and then once we start getting this updated, there's going to be more content, and I'll show that in the update video, and hopefully it gives a clear picture of what's going on. But I will update you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Hello everybody, this is CJ again. I'm doing my final update video on the app that I've been working on for the past week. A lot of stuff coming down into the crunch time, mostly with the authentication, but everything is basically working as it's supposed to for the most part. There's still some features that I wasn't able to add at the last second, but I'm planning on implementing them as I update this app. I'm not going to stop working on this. It's just, this is what it is. So I'm just going to run through the code here and what my thought process was, the technology that I use and all that. And so what I was able to get done. So this is all the server stuff, the Express server, accessing Mongoose and access our API routes here for our different API methods. So either buying the shares, buying additional shares, selling them, and seeing them. Just being able to see what I bought. So all of our these are all our routes that we used. So these two routes right here are for the for the logged in user, and that's pretty much it. So it's either we're posting to that user's database, or we read like if we either log in or if we sign up. This is what will happen. And then these are our 4 save stock. So this is our initial purchase, if you will. Show the purchases, sell them, or buy more. These are the different routes. We have some validation for the forms, especially for the login and the sign up. Basically, we want to throw out alerts, saying, hey, this needs to be in the proper format, all that stuff. Password has to be filled in, email has to be filled in an actual proper email format. And then for the sign up, we're getting the user's name, their email address, and we're getting their password twice. It's common practice. So when you sign up for an account, you put in the same password twice to confirm it and make it your password. I set the requirements, a minimum of 6 characters, no more than 10. It doesn't need to be a long password for our purposes here. And they need to match. Straightforward validation stuff. Nothing too fancy there. So from there, we got our models here. So we have the stocks. So this is the model that we're using in Mongoose for our stocks. We're just having the name. We're using a username. It's a unique identifier. No, this is the name of the stock. Excuse me. This is the name of the stock. This is the name of the user who purchased the stock. how many shares they got, the purchase price at the time of the purchase, and then how much it's worth. And then the user is literally name, email, password, and then the date that it's created. Simple stuff. Now we go to our controllers. So what we reference as far as like, okay, so we call those routes in our API routes. What are we doing with them? So, and that's our simple CRUD, create, read, update, and destroy, or delete, if you will. So this right here is our save stock. That's our post. That's our create. Get purchases is our read. Buy more shares. So we do a find by ID and update. So we find that specific stock. It has its own unique ID in Mongoose, and then we just update the number of shares, and then we show the new update. We show the new updated value. And then sell stock, we just get rid of the thing. If we sell it, we just sell all the stocks. I've never seen a situation or heard of a situation, but I'm not an investor. I've never heard of a situation where somebody's selling the stock of a company and only sells like a certain amount. Like I want to sell 2 of these stocks. I've never heard of that. It may be a thing. I don't know. So, but that's basically all that does. And then the user controller, this one's a bit more complex. So this references our validation folder here. And then we're using bcrypt for encryption, and we're using the JSON web token from Passport. That's the strategy that we're using. So basically, we're creating a token for the signed in user, and that token is what's being used to access the different pages. And then once they leave, they lose the token. That's it. So here, there's the login, and we find everything. If the email exists. Or if it doesn't exist, actually, if there's no email there, then it's obviously not found, so it's not in the database. And then we compare our passwords, and if they match, then we send it all out. And then we use this particular token, and we give it. The token lasts for a year, actually, so it expires 1 year from the time of creation. And then here's the register. So, okay, so login. If they're using the wrong email, the email and it doesn't exist, email not found. Register. If there is an email in there that's already in the database, email exists, so they can't use that. And then otherwise we just hash out the password. Say, make sure that nobody can pick up what it is. Relatively simple stuff. We go into the configuration here. This is just Passport. This boilerplate stuff for Passport for the JSON web token strategy on actually how to get it going. And then, but this is all we need. This is standard. And now going into the actual meat of the code, where all the React stuff is happening. So all of it is coming from here. There's the public page here with the index, and it links to this, and then the app. We used a router, the React router library, to kind of determine which pages we're going to when the pathway is set up a certain way. So for login, for sign up. And then we have these private routes, and these are the pages that could only be accessed if you're an authorized user. If you're an authorized user, you can see this. If you're not signed in, then you're out. It just redirects you back to the login page right here. So this took forever to figure out because it kept giving me these random errors. I had no clue what the heck it was talking about. But once I finally, I got some inspiration, and then finally I was able to understand it was just a matter of syntax. But if you want to see how this goes, this is actually normal practice as far as doing a private route if you're using the router components. So let me bring that up. So here, that's not it. That's the portfolio. Go to components, and then we go to private route. So this is all it is. It's just the component, and it's taking the stuff, and we verify if the user is authenticated. If they are, it'll put up the component. Otherwise, redirect. Simple enough. I've added a navigation bar here, and this will show up on the portfolio and the stock list page. And basically, it'll show certain things depending on if we have a username or not. If we have a username, then they're going to see the links to go to the portfolio page and the stock list page, or to sign off. And then, otherwise they'll just see either sign up or sign in. That's all they'll see. Easy day. So, and now we go to the actual, we'll go to the stock list page. And this is a lot. But as I mentioned before, we're just getting data from the World Trading Data and then API. And we can only get 5, but I filtered it to be NASDAQ. So I got the first 5 in alphabetical order. And I have a modal that shows, if I'm purchasing a stock, how many I want. That modal will have a text box there. And then once I get that information, I'm going to save it. And this is the API call that we make. We showed that API before. And then we'll just reset the state of all this data here. This is our initial state when the page loads. And then we reset it because that state will change as we enter data. We kind of reset the necessary ones to kind of go back to nothing. So, and then this is just all of there's our stock nav bar component that we just showed earlier. And then there's the modals, and then these are the, just different forms. And we'll see all that in the actual app. And then lock everything up. And then it's kind of the same stuff for the portfolio. Roughly the same kind of methods that we're using. I don't know why I have this in here, but whatever, it's there. It basically just reloads the page every 10 minutes because the stock prices do change on a consistent basis, and the page will actually show the difference between the price that you purchased the stock initially and what the current price is now. So it kind of helps inform your decision a little bit if you're an investor. And it's so I try to make it in real time, but I set the reload rate to 10 minutes. So it's whatever. Let's see what else we got here. Anything of note? And it just shows all the purchases that we've made, the number of stocks or the number of shares, how much they were purchased at, and all of that good sweet stuff. And again, we're using modals to either be like, are you sure you want to sell? Because we want to make sure that the user has a chance of saying, no, I don't want to sell. And then also, if I want to buy, I want to make sure that they have a modal and determine how many they want to buy. And that's basically all there is. That's all there is to it. It looks like a lot of stuff. I mean, that's usually how it goes, but that's how it is. And then this last component here, register user, login user, set the current user, set the user loading. So this just sets all the stuff up as far as like our local storage for the tokens, and making sure that we can register users, we can log them in, and set the user to who the current user is supposed to be. And these are the different types. So you got the error, if we have any errors, we have that. And then user loading, and then the current user. Okay. So without further ado, that's the code. That's all the code. So we're going to go ahead and show you the deployed version. And this is the login page. So this is where they're going to come to automatically. This is deployed on Heroku, and I tested it, and for what it does, it definitely works. I've created an account, so I'm going to log into it. And if I log in, I see I made a 350 share purchase of Atlantic American, and it was at $249, and it's still currently at $249. So there's no price difference. Now, if I want to buy more, I'll just put 15. It should go to 365. Reloads the page, 365. Done and done. And then if I want to sell it and just get rid of it entirely, just click the sell button. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? And then I sell it. And then there's nothing here. So the thing that I want to update on for this is I want to put out a message that shows, like, hey, I don't have any shares. Go to the stock list page, or go here to purchase shares. So that's something that I definitely want to do. And then I'll just have like a button or a link to redirect to the stock list page, which is here. And it just immediately pulls from the API and puts it out onto a table. And we can buy at their current price. So I'm going to buy Applied Optoelectronics. I'm going to buy 15 shares of that, purchase, and it just goes away. I do want to add a message there that says stock has been purchased, such and such, and then I can go view it, or create like a view button and go see it. And then, but if I go back to the portfolio page, boom, 15 shares of Applied Optoelectronics at $9.10 a share. Other things that I wasn't able to get to, unfortunately, I wasn't able to implement a wallet, basically, just some sort of way to measure the amount of funds that the user currently has available to them to purchase stocks, and then when they sell, it would update to increase the amount of that value. I wasn't able to do that at the during this week. But that's basically what I wanted to do. And I, again, just some other cosmetic stuff, something to make it look nice as far as like informing the user, hey, purchase this or go to this page when this is done. Finally, the coup de grace, as far as like when you're done, you sign off, takes you right back to the login page. Now, if I want to create an account, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go with, I'm going to say my name is Herpy Derp, and I'm going to go with the tester@test.com, and I'm going to create a new password. Okay, so I create the account, immediately takes me back to the login page, so I have to sign in. And then I want to point something out. If I do the wrong password, it'll tell me that the password's incorrect. Beautiful. I also want to adjust this. Like this looks scrunched in, and I don't like it. I need to fix that. But let's put in the actual correct password this time. And now you see I'm back in the portfolio page, but I don't have the Applied Optoelectronics. I don't have that share because it's not mine. It was the other guy who was me, but it's not mine. So if I, and then I just do the whole thing all over again. So that's Check-Your-Stox. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be releasing more update videos on this project because, like I said, I'm not done with this. And I want you guys to kind of see it grow, build up and grow as I possibly can make it. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening. Have a great day. Have a great all the things. Take care of yourselves.